Hi, my name is Cheryl Mosey, and I am the creator of Startup by Faith. I started my business a few years ago, and it was all about saying yes to stepping out on faith to starting my business. And so I created this series of discussions with other women entrepreneurs because I wanted to understand what brought them to their yes, what made them step out on faith to start their business. And I also wanted to understand their challenges. So this is what Startup by Faith is all about, and I hope you enjoy the series. Hi, my name is Cheryl Mosey, and this is Startup by Faith, where we believe, build, and sell. And today I am with Emily Philippi, and she is the owner and founder of Emily Chelsea Jewelry. And I'm so excited. We girls, we always love our jewelry, our necklaces, our earrings. So I'm excited to have Emily here today to tell us about her business. And hi, Emily.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I see a lot of things on you, and we will get into that a little later. I'm always intrigued by just the innovation and how you can think of different pieces for jewelry. But Emily, tell me about Emily. Where did you grow up? And
I grew up in Lebanon County, which is near Hershey, not
so
too
that's
far from here.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania. I went to school at Tyler School of Art, which is Temple's Art School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I actually just recently moved back from California, where I was for about 5 years.
What were you doing in California?
Chasing dreams.
And that's always good.
Yeah.
That's always good. So with the jewelry, growing up, were you always a girly girl and wanted to dress up with jewelry? Really?
Not at all.
Really?
But I was always into art.
Okay.
And, you know, looking back, I do think I did accessorize a lot, but I wouldn't say, I always said that if I did not have any like artistic bone in me, I'd be an engineer. Because everything I make with a lot of precision. I really like to push the limits on what I'm creating.
So how would you push the limits? What is different about, you know?
So everything I make is in CAD design on the computer and then 3D printed.
Okay, and CAD stands for?
Computer aided design.
Yes, okay.
So, and I've been doing that CAD for 10 years now.
Wow, and how does CAD help you with your design of your jewelry?
Sure, so one of the best ways it helps is when I'm working with weird stones. So any stone that's not like your typical cut, you get to build specifically for that stone.
So what would be a weird stone?
I would say this.
Okay, so now
ruby
we're
slice.
going to fast forward into the jewelry. Let's see.
So that's a ruby slice that, you know, it's not cut like a typical stone.
Okay.
And same with this, which is also a green sapphire slice.
So let's take these off for a few minutes and tell us about the color and the stone and how you would use CAD, that technology, in creating this piece. What is the process in creating this?
So you start with the stone and then build around it. And for that particular ring, I wanted to make something that's not typical. So usually around a lot of like engagement rings, you're going to see a halo, which is a ring of diamonds that goes all the way around the stone. I didn't want to do that because it's so classic and typical. You see that everywhere. So instead for this one, I put, you know, just a couple little stones spaced down around it with some gold metal in between. 3D printed it, checked to make sure it was exactly how I wanted it, and then took that wax model and cast it into gold.
So who do you design for? Who's your customer?
I do mostly bridal and engagement rings.
Wow.
And I work all over the world. My customers come from everywhere.
How do they find you?
Instagram, Pinterest,
So
social
media, marketing, and word of mouth, I'm sure.
Yeah. The other big thing is that I work only with responsibly sourced materials and recycled precious metals. And up until maybe like 2 years ago, I you know, would stop there. Like that would, you know, if someone said it's responsibly sourced, it's ethically sourced. I'd be like, okay.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, so there's a lot of jewelry, a lot of materials in general out there that the mining conditions aren't the safest. They're not getting paid fair wages. The working, like some of the warehouses that they're working in are not safe. There's no regulation on pay or safety. And it all kind of started with the Conflict-Free, the Blood Diamond movie.
Yeah.
If you're familiar. And that created complete change for the diamond industry.
So tell us a little bit about the Blood Diamond movie, just so that people know what we're talking about.
Right.
And how it relates to you only sourcing from reputable companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was a movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in, and it kind of opened the world's eyes to diamond sourcing, and that it was all about around civil wars in certain countries in Africa. And the diamond sales were directly fueling rebel groups and providing all sorts of like guns and any other kind of mass destruction weapons. It was very, very corrupt, and a few organizations got together and created the Kimberley process, which just states that this diamond did not come from those conflicts.
Okay.
It's not so much an issue anymore, but there's still other issues surrounding diamond sourcing, which I could talk about forever.
But where do you source the gold, the stones, the diamonds?
So all of the diamonds I get are post-consumer, which means they come from old jewelry. So like estate pieces, antiques.
So would you say recycled? Oh, okay. Okay, upcycled.
Recycled sometimes can mean it's like a catch-all for both pre-consumer and post-consumer. So it could be a jewelry store that retired, their stuff never sold. That's pre-consumer, and then post-consumer means it was worn maybe for 50 years. Whatever, it already went the whole way through the process.
Okay.
So I like to stick with post-consumer when I can, just because there could be more gray area with pre-consumer. For the gemstones, I work with, right now, a lot of gem dealers who just source from Montana, which you already are going to know what the labor requirements are, the safety requirements are for Montana because it's in the U.S.
Right.
Same with Canada and same with Australia.
Okay.
Countries in Africa,
it's
not stable. So when suppliers say, "Oh, it's from Africa," and I ask where, they're like, "Just in Africa." Like, well, I need a little more now.
Right.
So
how do you do that search?
It's not easy, and my suppliers are very limited.
Okay.
My gemstone dealers, it's just 2 right now because I trust what they say, and I know that they go on and do inspections themselves on site, or they're third-party certified, which means someone else goes and does those inspections. They don't have any hand in it. Doesn't matter to them if they pass or fail. So if they're third-party certified, that's pretty safe indication that it's coming from a trusted source.
So when did you start? When did you officially launch to start selling?
I started in 2012, mostly because I was frustrated that I couldn't find any jewelry that I wanted to wear. I was looking for something responsibly sourced, but affordable and unique, but also beautiful. So I started just making jewelry myself for fun and just, like I mentioned earlier, pushing the limits, like seeing what I could do, what I can't. And then it just got so big that in 2015, I made it my full-time job.
Really? So people started looking at what you were wearing and asking for it. So that was a leap. That was a leap to leave your full-time job and start the jewelry business. What made you get to that yes and kind of just step out on faith to start it?
Yeah, stress. I was working at a jewelry store full-time.
Okay.
And
well, that's very helpful because you had some insight as to how things work.
Oh, yeah. I learned so much. But an entrepreneur had told me they knew they had to leave their job when it was 1 a.m. and they had their friends helping them make their stuff in their basement.
Wow.
And so I said, if I get to that point where I'm working at 1 a.m., I'm going to leave my job.
Okay.
And I was working at 7 a.m. until I started. On my lunch break, I'd work in my car or at like a Panera. And then as soon as I left work, I'd go to my studio and work. I'm like, I think this is that time.
So you
think
started
this might be
the
that
grind.
time.
Yeah. So let's talk about the pieces you're wearing.
Sure.
So pull the, is that the ruby one?
The ruby slice.
Yeah, pull that one off. And then tell us the cost, tell us the process, and then, because this is very different, unique in this design there. And then tell us the price range of your pieces. I think I've asked you too many questions right there.
It's okay.
But tell us a design. How do you come up with different designs? We'll start there.
I want to do something I haven't seen before.
Okay.
So like I said, with the halo, like a half halo ring, you've seen a halo, but I wanted to change it a little bit. it really is a lot of thinking and not looking at things so that you don't get too influenced or distracted by other stuff you see. And CAD really gives me that flexibility. I get to do whatever I want. So I recently made a necklace with a moon on it, and I don't have that one on, but
but you have some really beautiful pieces.
The one with
you don't have to take it off. We can just open up a little bit and see that.
The moon necklace, I actually used an image of the moon and projected it onto the surface of the metal, and I get to do that because of CAD. I couldn't carve that by hand.
And I think using CAD is so important because you can look at something visually on the computer and say, I don't really like that, and then change it up before you start making it, and you're wasting materials. So I think that's, so that's how you work. You'll look at it and kind of change.
For another client, they're a couple from Alaska, and we were able to use the image of the Denali mountain. We put it underneath the diamond.
Really?
Yeah, that was like one of my favorites. It was so cool because that's custom to them. No one else is going to have that ring, and it had so much value to them. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to make jewelry that I liked, and I was having such a hard time finding that. I wanted something that like represented me, like represented my personality and what I like. And I feel like I get to do that now for clients, which I love.
So the clients give you ideas as well. Yeah, that's great.
And they come up with the best ideas.
Yeah.
Stuff that they've never seen before, that they want. I'm like, it's possible. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's cool. I see earrings on, so tell us about the earrings you have. And pull your hair back on both sides.
So these earrings are, I kind of did a whole collection of like the partial halo. So that ring, the earrings, but without a stone in the middle. This necklace is the exact same thing, and this is with a rose-cut Montana sapphire. Just trying to make stuff I haven't seen.
So starting any business and selling, and you sourcing and on CAD, and then making it, there are challenges, a lot of challenges along the way. Tell me about some of the challenges you faced in your business.
One of the challenges is being female in a very old industry that's mostly men and fourth-generation jewelers. They're very set in their ways, not only in their technique. There's so many times where I'm like, "Can you cast this?" And they're like, "No, I've never done it before. I'm not going to do it." It's like, just try it,
right?
And they don't want to because they're not used to that. And also how they treat women. They just don't expect women to be jewelers or women to be business owners, which sounds so dated, but a lot of these jewelers are in their 80s. They've been around forever. It's their father's business and their father's business.
Right. So what do you think is happening? Because I can see that they've been doing this for years. They're in their 80s. What about their children? Are they coming behind them to stay in the business, or is it what's happening?
A lot of times, there's some that have daughters, and so they're a little bit more open to the changes that are happening. And it doesn't always have to be daughters. Everyone has their own opinions. So sometimes you do get to work with really great jewelers. There's an organization called Women Jewelers of America. I'm a part of that. And that has been really great because you get to meet so many other female designers, and then even some men who support the idea of women working in the industry, and they're so open and love to share resources, which is hard to find because the jewelry industry has been so secretive. They don't like to share their trade secrets, and so that's been really helpful.
So what keeps you motivated? What keeps you going to work through those challenges that you face?
Making customers happy.
Like
getting to create something that they've never seen before, that someone else has told them no. I like to give them an experience unlike anywhere else. And it just that's so motivating. And if along the way I get to teach them a little bit about sourcing, get to make them aware about some of the mining issues, that's even better.
That's great. Well, I love it. Do you love what you do?
I do.
And you're happy you started your business?
I am.
Thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate you coming by the String Theory School. And I promise I will take this off shortly. But thank you. This is Startup by Faith, where we believe, build, and sell.